So, hi everybody. My name is Catherine McDonald. Can you hear me okay? Great. Okay. I'm the Director of Craft Northern Ireland. Thank you very much for coming this morning, just to hear a little bit more about August Craft Month and how you could participate if you're thinking about it. I've got some slides, about 10-15 minutes worth, just talking about what kind of things are involved, and lots of time for questions. So we'll try and keep it relatively relaxed. We're recording this at the minute, but if we leave questions till the end, we can stop the recording and people can ask what they want, and we'll circulate the recording and the slides later on. So I'm just going to share my screen now, hopefully. Great. Oh. Okay. Okay. Can everybody see taking part in August Craft Month? Okay. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so look, this is just thanks very much again for coming this morning. We're going to tell you a little bit about August Craft Month. If you have participated before, hopefully this will be a good refresher, and if you haven't, hopefully it'll give you a chance to see what kind of things are involved. I know definitely some of you have taken part. The application process has changed a little bit, so we can go through that really quickly. But I'm going to just sort of start from basics. Okay, so this is our third year partnering with the Design and Crafts Council of Ireland to promote August Craft Month across the island, and it's been going in Northern Ireland for a bit longer, but I'll introduce some of the team. Leading from the Design and Crafts Council is Susie O'Keefe, who's head of digital and communications, and on the webinar today is Emer Harding. Emer, if you want to go a little way. So Emer's here if anybody has any questions specifically for DCCI later on. And Vicky Daly is her colleague in digital marketing who handles all the social media side. The director of Craft NI, and helping me today is Katya. Give a wave, Katya, thank you, who's in charge of the Northern Ireland events. And Lorna Towns, our development officer, is helping to leading on the events in the south, and Lorna is on her summer holidays because she takes her summer holidays in May because of August Craft Month, so she's not here today. But you'll be hearing from her if you get involved in the next few weeks. Okay, so a little bit about August Craft Month. It started in Northern Ireland in 2004, so before I was at Craft NI, so it was well established. It works really well with participation of makers. Local councils are important, venues, collectives, and so on. And as I said, Cork Craft Month then has also been going in the south since 2009, is now really well established. And DCCI have partnered with us for the last 3 years to broaden out the whole of August Craft Month to cover the island of Ireland, which is starting to work really well and really build momentum. We are starting to see people traveling across the island to see to take part in crafts that they really like. We get feedback from makers about that, and also last year just a few bits of anecdotal evidence about people coming to Ireland deliberately from outside, from overseas. A couple from Malta contacted us who were really interested in the fact that there would be something to do in every county, and wanted to plan a trip around that. So we're really pleased. It's early days, baby steps, only year 3, but we think this has the potential to grow as it has in Northern Ireland and as Cork have seen. So August Craft Month has a call to action for audiences by CMake. So that's really the shorthand for encouraging people to buy local craft, think about local craft, to get to know craft shops, to see craft being made, to get to know makers, to understand the processes, understand the work, and to have a go as well, to participate, to take part in a craft activity. Why did August Craft Month come about? Well, what makers tell us and what the intention was when it began was to help makers meet their audiences, especially in the summer when people have some leisure time to do this. And hopefully these summer connections can then turn into longer term relationship for sales at Christmas. So thinking about the sequencing of it, because we know, as you all know too, that the part of the things that make people want to buy local handmade work is the stories behind it, and knowing who putting the face to the name of the maker and understanding the motivations of that person and how they do what they do. So it helps people value crafts because it sees the processes involved. It helps people understand how difficult it is to make a really good thing, and to really then appreciate the value of that and value it more. And we know there's lots of evidence for people taking part in a craft activity that making things is good for us. So in the PR sort of messaging around that, we always try to make people know that having a go at something is really good for us. Mastering a new material, doing something with somebody else, a digital detox, getting off your phone and doing something with your hands. So they're all kind of some of the messaging that we'll be using PR wise. Okay. Okay, so just what kind of activities do you typically do we see in August Craft Month? So I've just got a few examples up here. Galleries and exhibitions would take part. So last year we had this gallery in Cork who took part with an exhibition. So that was nice to see the kind of the retailers getting involved. Likewise, Mill Cove in Kerry got involved. Classes and workshops. So this is just again the idea of individual classes or individual spending time with an individual maker, learning alongside them. So here's Northern Ireland Silver, doing a beginner's jewelry making experience, and there's the jewelry experiences are quite popular. And so Ruth here in County Down, this is her business is jewelry making classes all year round. So it was great that she was able to include some in August Craft Month. And the two, Ruth here on the left and this lady on the right, were doing a class a couple of years ago during August. And I went along with the photographer just to get some images and asked the girl why she was taking part, and she said, oh well, my sister booked this because today is National Sisters Day, so we wanted to find something that we could do together, and so therefore they turned that into a really nice thing that they did together. They spent a day together, they had a nice thing at the end of it to make a nice memory, plus all the good things about about understanding a new material and a new skill. So again, that's the kind of thing, little hooks like that, National Sisters Day or different sort of calendar events that we'll try and pull out. But also that sort of really nice element of coming to a craft activity with somebody about doing something participatory with somebody else. So I thought that was a nice example. Okay, get back here. Oh no, I've just had a total. I've killed it. I can't find out how to get back to the slides. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Okay. What have I done? Go away. Sorry, everybody. Showing my tool. Okay, we're still there. Okay, great. Okay, we had some online. This is an online only event, which was from this lace collective. So actually, they didn't really do anything in person, but they had been working for a while on an online resource, a history of lace on the island, and it was just a nice opportunity for them to include this in the program, to establish, to help people learn about lace and to make contact with people. So anything online that you have that you've done previously or that you're working on is also great to include. Really would really encourage that. Collectives, any of you who might be working in collectives, again, just a nice example of what Meath Made did last year. They just really had all their members doing, I think, a thing each. So that provided on a local area quite a nice range of different activities. And then a craft trail. Last year, Causeway Council had a craft trail that ran for a day. So again, if you are aware of other makers in your area who you might be able to link up a few things together to make a half day or a day activity with visits. That's kind of a nice thing to think about. And then there were some other craft activities. They were in a sort of therapeutic context. This was a craft workshop that was done through Brain Injury Matters, but they included the public in it to make this nice paper sculpture over a couple of days. So it's just really to give a flavour of the variety of activities that people have done in the past couple of years. And on the August Craft Month page, you'll be able to go into last year's programme. It's still up until this year's programme's complete. Last year's programme will still be up. So if you want to have a little noodle around and see what else was going on, if you're thinking of something you aren't too sure, you can have a look and see some other examples of what people did last year. Okay, a few highlights from last year. Over 400 events took place across the island, nearly 450. We're estimating about 45,000 people participated in a craft activity or visited an event last year, which is brilliant numbers. And I think the potential for that as we continue is really significant. We could continue that way. We work really, really hard to get media coverage for individual makers, because the individual makers are what's interesting about this. It's the people's stories, what people do, why they do it, how they do it. And there's such variety there, unlimited possibilities of what we can cover. So we work really hard to kind of try and, dig deep into people's events with things that the press will find interesting. So this is just a quick skim through some of the coverage that we got last year for makers in these publications in Northern Ireland and in the South. I won't go into them in too much detail, but we've got radio coverage, we got newspaper coverage, local press, and we do lots of social media to support it as well. So we really do try, and this is something that we really want to work with you together on. The places where you live, you'll know who the local radio is, who the journalists are, who might be interested in what you're doing. So if we can share as much of that information with us as you can, and we'll let our PR company, Jago, know we have good PR support at this time of the year, and they will have good connections and good ideas. But any local knowledge you can give us always really helps, because you're there working on the ground all year round. Okay, so onto the technical side of it. Hopefully this isn't too complicated, but once you've sort of thought through what your event might be, had a good look and see what some of the other examples are, then you can submit a proposal to us. And Katya very kindly last week did really quick how-to on Instagram. It'll be on all our social media accounts, augustcraftmonth.org, on Instagram and Facebook, and on the Craft and I one, and I think on the DCCI one as well. So there's just quite a nice quick little video in terms of how to register. But basically, you have to register yourself as a maker. And then once you've registered and got your logins, you can then go on and add your event. And that sort of two-step process was to really help collectives or groups who would do more than one event. So once they've registered once, they can just add as many events as they want them without having to go through the whole thing time and time again. So that was a bit of feedback we got a couple of years ago, and hopefully this has made that process a bit easier. So we'll circulate the slides afterwards and you can have a look. It looks very, very speedy at the minute, but it's actually pretty straightforward. And Katya here, or anybody at info@augustcraftmonth.org will be able to give you a hand if you get stuck, but hopefully it's fairly intuitive. But definitely no problem if you are stuck and want a bit of help with that. So on augustcraftmonth.org, you can see all the terms and conditions. I wonder if I have it open here. This is the new 2025 website. All events from last year are still up here under all events, so you can have a look through last year's programme out of interest. And then you can register your event today, just using that process that I described there quickly. For the terms and conditions and eligibility, they're pretty much the same. There's just a few little differences, but do click through to have a look at those. Just familiarize yourself with those, north and south, before you apply. Again, should be fairly straightforward, and give us a shout if there's anything that's not very clear. When you're registering your event, have a little think about anything, stories behind what you're doing that would be of interest to our PR company as well. But anyway, once you've logged your event, as many as you are involved in, the team will review, we'll come back to you if we need different pictures or better images, or if there's a bit of information missing, and then we'll publish them all sort of towards the end of June when we launch the full programme. So as I said, just a few examples of some events that happened last year, but the kind of things that are really welcome in the August Craft Month programme: workshops, open studios, taking part in craft trails, or working with councils or venues or collectives or other friends locally on craft trails, exhibitions if you're involved in any, talks, meet the maker, fairs and markets, even ones that are already happening, we're really keen to know about. And then what makes a good listing? So with over 400 events last year, it's really important that your event can be found easily and that looks really good. So as always, this won't be a surprise to you. The best images you can possibly get will really help, and they'll help us, to promote August Craft Month as a whole. So nice, clear, sharp images, as clear as you can get, as high res as you can get. A portrait or landscape doesn't matter. I think Kathy will be able to put them in the right location. Sometimes in a pinch, people will just send a logo of their business or their collective. That's okay. It's, if you've got nothing else, but if you can have a couple of really good images, that really helps to bring your event to life. Ideally, a picture of you, or a picture of what you're making, and a picture of what the person will get from the experience, whether it's something that they're making, what that thing is going to turn out like, whether it's an exhibition, some examples of the kinds of work that might be in it. So the better the kind of images that can bring it to life, will be great, will really help us and you. So just if you want to kind of get into the sort of, we talked a little bit about, people coming to the island to take part in craft activities, and people moving around the island to take part in things that they're really interested in and to pursue particular disciplines. We did a webinar the year before last with Tourism NI about what makes a really good experience, and they're really, they're used to working with food producers or activities of, outdoors activities and so on, about making a sort of really nice, attractive half day, activity for people. So if that's something you want to try and sort of find out a little bit more about, these links here could be quite useful. And we're currently trying to get another webinar with Fáilte Ireland and Tourism NI organised again for this year, just for some refreshers, because some of the tourism trends, you'll do what you do. This is your business and your discipline. But if it's useful to have a bit of context about a good experience, then there is some useful information at these links here. But what the tourism bodies tell us that people want from an experience and then maybe there are things that then you can reference in your description. So, enrichment and learning. So learn a new thing, or find out more about, or see how this happens. That kind of thing is attractive to people. Authentic experiences, and don't take that as a massive pressure. That's the the opportunity just to sit alongside you doing what you do in your normal way. But it's a little bit of a behind the scenes look, I suppose, in a way, for people. We know there's really good evidence about what people get from making activities, relaxation and escapism. The Crafts Council in the UK and their big market for craft piece of research picked up a really strong theme of digital detox, people being able to do something with their hands, get off their screens. So those again are the sorts of things that we'll be really promoting in the PR around it. And again, like with National Sisters Day, something to do with somebody, a really nice, inclusive, fun activity. On the registration, there'll be prompts to ask you to take a note of accessibility information about whether there are steps, if there are any, and any ways to make sure that your activity is as inclusive as possible. So we'll prompt you for any of that information you can have, but the more about that you can describe, the better. Just back to the photography point, we've just put in a couple of links here about, some videos about how to take really good, the best quality images on your phone or digital camera, or on your smartphone, that will help you. So it's possible, if you have time and that's kind of advice that you would like, there's some good insights there into what you can do to get good images for your video. And obviously video for social media is really important. We know that Vicky and Emer will know lots about this, and there's lots of advice if you want it to really nerd out on social media, but video is important. Faces on for Instagram and social media really help. So I know a lot of people don't love filming themselves talking, but it's one of the things that really can really help with social media, and we're really happy to advise or support on any of that. And there's a couple of online resources there from webinars that we've done in the past that will give you some tips. And again, we'll circulate the slides afterwards. So how will you, to anybody, any questions at this point? But I'm just conscious I'm just talking a lot. Anybody want to ask anything at the minute, or happy for me to keep going? Okie doke. So how do the organisations support people who are taking part in August Craft Month? So you'll have a listing on our online calendar of events, and then we'll be working really hard all throughout the summer to drive people to the calendar. So we'll work with the tourism bodies. We'll be doing PR, through radio and local media and national media. We'll be doing social media ads, radio ads, we've done in the past. And we will be working really hard to profile individual makers locally with whatever is of interest to them, to the media. So we'll give you as much support as we can for you and your event, your business, your collective, your exhibition, however you're choosing to take part. What you'll get to help with that, and as much as you can do on the promotion side, will really help you, will help us, and will help the whole of August Craft Month, the more that people can do individually to promote what they're doing. So we'll email you a digital pack with some digital assets that will help you hopefully just be part of the bigger collective effort. So there'll be different logos for you to use, a GIF or GIF for your own reels, a frame to put over your own images, and other things. I'm not the expert on this, so I'm just describing what we've done in the past. But when we'll send all that to you with some helpful instructions about how to make best use of them, what tags to use, and so on. We also send a physical pack for your event, and we're really keen to get a bit of feedback about what people think would be useful. So in the past, we've done the table tent that you can see here, and that has had QR codes on it last year to link into the programme. We've done stickers in the past. We've had a request maybe for posters this year, so people can put posters out in their own towns and in their libraries and so on. Really open to ideas and suggestions about what people would find useful, nice, inviting, a way to propose to promote their activities. So we did wonder about aprons, August Craft Month aprons, especially for making activities. There might be a cost for something like that, but everything else is free. Bunting, floor stickers, window stickers. So really open to suggestions about what people would find useful and attractive for their venues or their studios or their houses. So if you want to get in touch with us or stick any ideas in the chat or let us know afterwards. Yeah, so just, I suppose, once your event is in, and really anything you can do then during the summer to back up our sort of more centralized PR activities will all really help, because, what we're trying to do is, to really build a kind of a really grassroots campaign where people are clear they can take part in something not too far from them. So the more work that you can do with your own networks, can also, we're aware that you are businesses and enterprises that have your own connections built up over the years, and people will be keen that to know that you're part of this, and then you publicizing that will help the other makers who are involved as well. The kind of things that people tend to respond to as you come towards your events will be things like little taster videos or pictures of your workshop, or mentions or likes of other activities that are going on, and mentions of your own. And we'll be, if you're using the hashtags, we'll be keeping an eye on those and resharing and trying to kind of aggregate things so we can together, I think, build a bit of momentum around social media particularly, as well as the work that we're doing with the PR companies. Yes, just a reminder not to forget about your own existing contacts, and if you're working with the venue, to pass on, encourage them to promote August Craft Month events through their own contacts as well. So some of the kind of PR, sorry, it sounds like we're asking a lot of you, but I'm hoping that we're trying to paint a picture of what the makers will get as well as what we're asking, because it is a bit of a collective effort, really. Thinking about what we really want is this opportunity for the media to really get to know makers, what craft makers are like, who they are locally, why craft is important on the island as part of the economy, as part of our identity, as part of the story of us as a people and a place. So things that PR that the media have been interested in the past have been things like a career change, second careers in craft always seems to be of interest. Unique techniques, innovative or sustainable approaches, community impact, anything that involves other organizations in your community, collaborations and partnerships, behind the scenes, the sort of behind the curtain look at what you're doing, personal touches, success stories, awards or growths, or anything cultural or historical significance. So again, like, no pressure, just, do what you do, but these are the sorts of things that have been of interest in the past that we're trying to find. As August goes on, we'll start to send a new audience survey. So for your event, if you can really encourage people who come to take part in the audience survey, that really helps. And I have to say, every year we never fail to get really good feedback from audiences. Here's a couple of quotes here. A marvelous workshop led by a team of skilled and inspiring tutors. Really good thing to do with your friends and family. The creator was extremely friendly and helpful. I would love to see more from her in the future. They always give us huge encouragement, and I think hopefully will to you as well. So if you can encourage the people who attend your event to complete the audience survey, it's always really useful. And then we'll also send you a link afterwards to give it for your feedback about what it was like to take part as a maker. And that's really important as well, because we want to know, are we getting it right? Is there more we could do? Could we do anything different? Year before last, we had some feedback about the application form, which was really helpful and helped us to kind of make that slightly more, the online application process a bit easier for makers. So anything like that, it really helps. And that's it, really. That's the end of the slides. info@augustcraftmonth.org is just, please send any queries there. And there's 3 of us monitoring that, so we'll pick it up. We'll pick up any queries or questions that you have. And I'll stop sharing. No.